Recently, Buck Angel used my footage again in his video and thumbnail about how awful the kind of surgery I got is, which is bizarre because I am very openly someone who had an overwhelmingly positive experience with these surgeries. For context, I'm a 30-year-old trans man from the UK, and I had a type of lower surgery called ALT phalloplasty, which leaves a large scar on your thigh as a completely expected and normal part of the surgery, so it was not a complication or a surprising side effect or something that's mentally distressing to me. It's literally what I signed up for. So he clips and screenshots the footage of my leg, obviously making sure not to include anything about how well it's healed, how I can exercise again, how it's not causing me any issues, and that I had a good experience. And he uses it for his narrative about how awful and gross this kind of surgery is. I did make a longer video about it last time because he had more to say about me specifically last time, and I made a lot more points in that video which I don't want to just repeat again in another one, so if you do want to go watch that, please do. But the main point I want to make in this video is that yes, the way he clips and puts these compilations together does make it seem like phalloplasty is this big awful thing, but it's really important to listen to people that have actually had these surgeries. Some of us have had bad experiences, and some of us, like me, have had really good experiences, but the way he's put me in there and tried to make it sound like I've had a bad experience just shows how dishonest people can be in pushing their narrative. After the clip of my leg, which he didn't really give much context to being in the video, he then went on to talk about people that can barely walk because their legs have been torn up, which he didn't directly say Evan can't walk because his leg's been torn up, but saying that sentence right after showing the clip of my leg obviously is going to make people assume that that's what's happened to me, and it just hasn't. The clip of my leg is also in a video specifically about complications. It's in the thumbnail, and like the title of the video mentions complications. And my stage 1 surgery, which included my leg, I didn't have any complications from, I didn't need a revision from. I've never had any major issues with my leg. Obviously I didn't get straight up after the surgery and start running down the hallway, but I regained function in a normal amount of time. I don't have any complications with my leg. It just doesn't add up. So in reality, speaking for myself as someone who actually in real life has had this surgery, and that stage 1 surgery, including the leg part, that was over 2 years ago now. So I think I'm in a place where I can, make judgment about how good or bad it was for my life. And honestly, phalloplasty was one of the best choices I've ever made. I carefully made that decision over many years. I was very, very educated about it. I knew about what the scar would look like beforehand, and actually I feel like my leg scar is very well healed. It might look shocking to people who don't know about that surgery and are expecting it to just look like a normal leg that hasn't had that kind of surgery. But obviously when I look down, that's not what I have in mind. I can function normally, I can exercise normally, my leg doesn't hold me back in any way, shape or form. I knew that my leg would never look the same again, and I also knew that that was something that I could handle. I'm 100% at peace with that. To have a scar on my leg was 100% worth it. I can't even put into words how worth it was. I would make that same decision a million times over. But that being said, I don't pressure anyone else to get this surgery. I don't think this surgery is for everyone. There is pain involved. You have to be mentally very stable and very strong. You have to see your body whilst it's healing, and that can be very gory. You have to be very patient. There often are revisions involved. It's best to go into it expecting there to be revisions. It's absolutely not for the faint-hearted at all, and phalloplasty is not for every transgender man. I did have to have a revision, but just not on my leg. It was on my implant, and because I was already mentally prepared for that, I just saw it as a part of the process. It didn't feel like some big awful thing that was happening to me. I just automatically knew that I was strong enough to deal with that because I'd already thought about it from the start. So yeah, the surgery is not for everyone, but if you've spent years thinking about it, weighing up the pros and cons, speaking to people about it, and you know that you're strong enough to deal with it, that is your choice to make. And if another trans person makes a different choice to you about their body, that doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means that they have a different mind and a different body. So what choice you make, what you think is best for you, is not necessarily going to be best for them. Everyone's transition's different, and everyone's lower surgery is different. That's why it's good for us to be able to speak about it, whether we've had good experiences or bad experiences, or in the middle. If you do have any questions about phalloplasty, I am happy to answer them, just from my own experience. I am going to start making some more phalloplasty content again, because I do think it's something that's important to talk about. And yeah, thanks for watching.